Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott from the Fire Note, and today in the Prog Corner, we are talking about the brand new Jethro Tull album, The Zealot Gene. It's album number 22. We didn't expect anything new from these guys, so it is cause for a celebration, regardless of whether the album's any good or not. And is it any good? Well, let's talk about that a little bit. But first, why did Jethro Tull, Ian Anderson, that is, feel, you see, I just did it. The conflating between the name Ian Anderson and Jethro Tull was a thorn in Ian Anderson's side for a very long time. But just take a look at that album cover. Clearly, he's come to terms with that idea. He's also come to terms with the idea that Jethro Tull has a identifiable sound, and maybe they should stick with that sound. Thus, the Zealot Gene has a definite and discernible 70s feel to it. I am all here for it. And in some ways, it feels like a companion to Aqualung, and maybe a revisitation of some of those ideas. Ian Anderson has talked about how he's warmed to Christianity, how some of these ideas no longer anger him or fill him with so much skepticism. So some of this feels like a correction, a course correction, a little bit. But to me, it feels like Ian Anderson knowing that he couldn't have the legacy of Jethro Tull end with the Christmas album from 2003, or God forbid 1999's jtull.com. So we'd have to reach all the way back to 1995 with Roots to Branches to find an album that was actually a good record with the Jethro Tull name. And you have to go back a lot further than that to find one that actually sounds like Jethro Tull. 1987's Crest of a Knave, which infamously won them a Grammy Award for Best Heavy Metal Hard Rock Album, was a great record, but didn't really sound like Jethro Tull. So we'd probably have to go, well, another great record did not sound like Jethro Tull. So we have to go all the way back to 1979 with Stormwatch to find a record as good as this that actually sounds like Jethro Tull. Again, why did he call it Jethro Tull? The guys that are currently in this band have been with Ian Anderson for quite some time. We're on his Homo Eroticus solo album. We're on his Thick as a Brick Part 2 solo album. Ian at one point said, if there's no Martin Barr in the band, there is no Jethro Tull. Clearly, he's had some changes of heart. And this record seems to be the culmination of that. Work began on this album in 2017, while Florian Othal was still playing guitar with him. He is no longer in the band, but I believe it's mostly all him on the electric guitars on this album. John O'Hara on keyboards has been with him since 2012, I think. Scott Hammond on drums, and David Goodyear make up the band. The album. Let's talk briefly about the Zealot Gene. Is it any good? Well, it starts out really interestingly with a song called Mrs. Tibbetts, which is about Hiroshima. Her son was the captain of the Enola Gay, which dropped the bomb on Hiroshima. So he cites each song, Ian Anderson does, with a Bible quotation. This one is linked to the story of Lot's wife. So we see how there's a lot of biblical connections with these songs, kind of like there was with Aqualung. And some of these songs actually have an Aqualung feel to them. The best part of this album comes up, track number 3, Mine is the Mountain. It feels a little like My God. It could have gone on for another 10 minutes. It's the best song on this album. It's really, really cool. Next up is the title track, which is kind of a heavier tune. I really enjoy it. There's not so subtle references to current political events and the polarization of politics worldwide. Next up is Shoshanna Sleeping, which is a really, really great track. Got that cool, quirky Jethro Tull feel that I really, really enjoy. Side one closes with Sad City Sisters, which is kind of the sea shanty, and it almost reckons back to the previous song in that Shoshanna Sleeping was kind of a Me Too movement kind of song, whereas the second song feels more like these girls are going out, they're whores downtown Cardiff, and Ian's not happy about it. And side one references all these tracks to Old Testament verses. Side two, beginning with Barren Beth, Wild Desert John, all the songs are attached to New Testament citations. This first one, of course, being about Mary's cousin was Elizabeth. She gave birth to Jesus. Elizabeth gave birth to John the Baptist. Talking about Gabriel and all this biblical stuff. The betrayal of Joshua Kind is next up, and that is obviously very connected to Jesus and Judas Iscariot. And then the album runs into a problem. The next three songs are these solo tracks that make up half a side two. 5 of the album's 12 songs, not 12, that's a very biblical number, is it not? 5 of the album's 12 songs are kind of solo Ian Anderson tracks where it's just him and an acoustic guitar or a flute. These are decent, but they go on too long. They're all between 3 and 4 minutes, and they really kind of take the wind out of the sails of the Zealot gene. So the final track is the Fisherman of Ephesus, and I'm expecting fireworks. It comes out of the gate like locomotive breath with that really cool minor key riff, and it just doesn't go anywhere where I want it to go. It ends in a really strange and bizarre way, kind of again taking me out of it. Boy, if side 2 was as strong as side 1, we'd be talking about a miracle record here. It's so great to see these legacy acts like Yes and Kansas and Styx and Uriah Heep and Deep Purple put out really, really good albums. This is yet another one in that long line of unexpectedly good albums from dinosaur acts. So what is my final score on this thing? Well, I really, really enjoyed it. I've had it only for a couple of days, so maybe the acoustic tracks might grow on me a little bit. But at this point, I am more than willing to give it 3.5 headphones, which would translate out on a 10-point scale to maybe a 7.3. So it's closer to a 3.5 than it is to a 4. But so that's where I'm at right now. I am so happy to have this record in the world. Ian Anderson clearly had some things to say. I'm glad he got a chance to say it. Anyway, that's what I have to say about it. If you want a more in-depth look, there's been some really, really good reviews on YouTube. Barry from Classic Album Reviews did a fantastic track-by-track analysis of it. He's also done an interview with Ian, as did the Prog Report, had a interview with Ian Anderson, so check them out. Anyway, I hope you get a chance to listen to it. Let me know what you think when you get to hear it. I am Scott from the Prog Corner, and I will see you guys soon.